So, what is the most important thing to get right when you start a new instrument? There's a lot of answers to that question. I have played a number of different instruments over time, and most recently I picked up the guitar. I played about 5 years, and I mentioned on one of the earlier videos how I had lost like 4 months here and 8 months there. And believe it or not, a lot of that had to do with how I was holding the instrument. With guitar, it's kind of interesting because the instrument is held differently for different styles of music that you play. So a classical guitar player will have it over the left knee and elevated, right? A folk guitar, very often the right knee and down. An electric guitar is very often played with a pick. Finger picking style is different than strumming for some, and there are many varieties in between. And I kept switching from one to the other. I couldn't decide, and it slowed me down. So what I ended up settling with, which is for some people a little bit unusual, I ended up settling with a position that is more suited to a classical guitar because I really like finger picking and the complexity of multiple lines happening at one time require the left hand to be able to do fancy things. And then you're also in a position that is more classical, but I'm playing on a steel string guitar. So there's this thing, right? It gets kind of out in the weeds a bit, but it's really, really important. For the violin, it's really almost critical. So for example, when you pick the thing up and you put it on your shoulder, if it's too far one way or too far the other way, and the bow comes down on the string, if the bow is crooked, it slides off. So learning to play in such a way where you have a 90-degree angle becomes really important. If your hand is all buckled up, you can't make the whole steps and half steps. And it doesn't necessarily feel natural. So in those first 4 to 6 weeks, you want to be a bit vigilant about how you hold it. And there are a lot of help videos online to show you those things. Working with a private teacher can really, really help in the beginning stages, particularly with violin, because it's not terribly natural. And I would almost say the same of guitar, based on my experience of teaching myself. So the way you hold it may not seem that important in the beginning, but very quickly they become habits. And then if you're holding the instrument in a way that keeps you from playing it, you will stop your development. And that's one of the reasons why I believe it's so important. Thank you for joining me.